Yeah. Why do people say I'm toxic as if it's appealing? That's a good fucking question. All right. I'll answer this to the best of my ability. Because people want to justify a reason to stay the way the fuck they are, knowing that it's causing havoc, knowing that it's causing pain. It hurt people like to hurt other people. You know what I mean? I feel like that's one reason for it. It could be people are lazy. They really are just don't know any better. They're ignorant as fuck. Like they don't see, like when a girl says like, I'm crazy as hell, or I'm toxic. I know I'm toxic. If you know you're toxic, then why don't you do something about it?
Roll me, Mac.
Why do you believe it is important to ask and not assume? Well, because we tend to create stories in our mind, and sometimes some stories aren't accurate, and we can run away with the idea of something. We can run away with the idea of someone, and it's our own movie. We create our own movies when we assume, and assumption is not reality. Not all the time. Sometimes it links up, and you get like an inkling that this is going on. But given the circumstances, not so much what a person says, what this is the old saying goes, believe half what you see and none of what you hear. But to see something for what it is, nevertheless, amor fati, accepting things as they are, not what you want them to be, and not allowing fear to run the show, but to allow love to run the show. Love takes things as it is, and I mean everything as it is. And truth be told, a lot of us do not understand how to love, especially from the sense in which we are taught that God loves us. When I'm talking about the crust of a motherfucker, the crust, I'm talking about you to love the crust, the ugly, the good, the bad, the ugly of a person is challenging, man. Always challenging. It's challenging. So when you just prevent yourself from running away with the idea of something, just as I tend to run away from the topic at times, like I just displayed, but getting back on the topic, asking versus assuming prevents you from the unlimited possibilities in which it creates in your mind. When you ask the question, you no longer have to assume, and some of us are not prepared for the answers that we're asking for. That's what I can say. A lot of times, whether it be knowing your lady's past, whether it be learning about your parents, something about your parents, something about a family member that you just you put on a pedestal, you revere in high regard, and to find out how human they are. That assumption that they are that in your mind, you don't want to spoil your illusion of one's person. It shifts, it changes things when you discover certain aspects of people, because they are characters in your mind, and some of us really want to keep those characters alive in the book that we're writing. We don't want to know how dark they are. We don't want to know how kind the perceived dark people might be. We really do create these images of people that we meet in our lives to to keep our nervous system calm, or to protect our nervous system from this character we've decided they are. They're the villain. These are the anti-heroes. These are the villains. These are the heroes. These are the people I believe I can trust. But what do you do when the person you believe you can trust has proven themselves to be untrustworthy? Are they less human than you? Have you been trustworthy your entire life? A lot of questions, right? A lot of questions, a lot of unveiling, a lot of peeling back bandages in order to touch a wound that may not have been touched for a very, very long time. And we've just been riding with what we believe happened, why that happened, versus asking that question as to why this thing happened, whether it's something from your past, whether it's something family related, whether it's something with friends. Because you see people go years, over 20 some years, not talking to a particular person, only to find out the thing they could have talked about lasted about 10 minutes. A 10-minute conversation could have saved 20 years of a connection, of a bond, when you just put aside egos and be able to talk about things and willing to accept whatever it is that comes behind that, you asking the question versus assuming. So it's important to ask and not assume, just to prevent the fear movies from being created. We create horror movies, depending on what it is. Most cases it's horror movies that we tend to. Fear and thriller, like horror movies and thriller movies get created whenever we, pending doom, we believe the rug is about to be pulled from underneath us. So instead of asking, because we've been through it so many times, we kept attracting the same type of energy. We assume that this person does not love us. We assume this person does not like us. We assume, hell, we even assume that this person likes us, and we assume that this person loves us. But we won't ever really know that. You'll never really know. Totally. I mean, you'll get an idea of a person, their affection for you, but you'll never truly know how much they love you. You won't. And a part of us, our egos and our wounded inner children, we are determined to find out. Especially the object of our affection, we are trying to find out how much that you love me. And we will put up with so much bullshit in an attempt to find that out. And we can just and when things are going so well, you anticipate the crash. There's a draw 4 about to be thrown at me. The color is about to change in the game of Uno, and I assume that it's going to be something horrible. I'm assuming that. I'm putting that out in the universe. I'm suffering twice. I'm suffering in thought, and then I'm going to suffer when what I put into the universe comes to pass, to confirm that I'm unlovable. And I believe we tend to do that, man. Like, especially when the concept of asking. Yeah, especially when it comes to the concept of asking, like, part of you wants to know, but a part of you doesn't want to know. I don't know if I can accept the truth of things that have happened in my life. I want to know that my life has been all, happy-go-lucky, and there are no negative things that happen. There are no people that have been, projecting pain upon one another. There are not people that have gone through pain and then they, again, project that pain outwardly. I don't want to believe that. I want to believe that these people are kind, that the world is nice, the world treats you nice. But the more you live, the more you will see that there are people in this world that are love to watch the bitch burn, and they do not care as much as you believe they do. So sitting in those thoughts, and when you go through that a series of time, You believe everyone is like that. You have no idea. You want to protect yourself. You want to be vulnerable. But vulnerability came at a cost each time before. So I'm going to unconsciously assume that you are out to manipulate, out to hurt me in some way, shape, or form. Isn't it great to be human? Especially a human that has gone through some bullshit. I mean, I believe most of us have been there. If you've been fortunate enough to be around like a solid support system, people that are healthy, blessings to you. As David Goggins says, Merry Christmas. But for some of us, we have been around some of the best poker players that this world has ever seen. And some of us have been some of the best poker players. And we lead you to believe that this is what it is. But I have a draw 4. I got a full house. You thought you was gonna beat me with them 2 pairs. Gotcha, bitch. So what that does, and why I'm saying all of that, is we tend to anticipate fuck up, failure, shit not going in our favor, things that we don't want to happen. Aversion versus desire. You know, aversion is when something happens that you don't want to happen. You're anticipating this to not happen, and then it happens. You suffer because of that. Desire obviously is wanting a certain thing. You want this love, and then when you don't get this love, you suffer from it. But as for anything, you just accept it and live in amor fati. It's a stoic way of living. It's not obviously we're emotional creatures. We are to feel emotion. But what I believe amor fati really means is just to accept those emotions when they happen. So asking the question versus assuming prevents you from creating those horror movies. You just go on with life and you have no idea. You think that, your family don't like you because of this. That's your interpretation of it. That is not conclusive evidence to prove that point. But because of our fear, because of our moments that we've been through in life where we've been triggered, we've been traumatized, we assume the worst. We do. We assume the worst in people. We assume the worst in us. We will make ourselves so unlovable, and we will project that pain onto others. And I mean, that's just life, right? That's what we do in life. We tend to project those things outwardly, and instead of living in love. And Don Miguel Ruiz taught me that very much. In the 4 agreements, the agreement number 3 is to don't assume. Don't make assumptions. Because it's just movies. We create the storyline. We create why a person did this. All we know is that the person did this. And in some cases, we're assuming that a person did this. All we know is that this happened. We don't get to know why. Sometimes we don't get to know why it happened. All we know is that it happened. But to eliminate and to alleviate a lot of unnecessary thoughts thought rumination. You ask the question of whenever we're feeling insecure, we can ask the question. We can ask direct. Uncomfortable, but uncomfortable never killed anybody. So it's tough. It can be tough. You might not like what you hear when you ask the question, but at least you'll know. And willing to, I said just willing to accept. And life has taught me that the last few years to ask those questions, to get to know things, not assume things, to see that a person's attitude, to assume that that's about me. To make things about you so much, where our wounded inner child, our ego is so wrapped up in itself that we assume that everything a person does is about us. It's not really about us. It's about what a person is going through. I just understand. I truly understand the pressures of being in your own mind And as coming from a person who lives alone, there's a lot of rumination that can happen. You know, your mind makes up shit. Your mind creates so many, like I said, just negative things that make you feel like you have control. Your brain, I believe our brains create negative things to believe we have a sense of control because we're used to bullshit. You know, when someone does something kind for you and all you've lived in is pain, it is one of the scariest things you can experience. Why are they loving me? You feel unlovable. And you've been made to believe that you're unlovable. Obviously, we're all lovable, but those traumas create this idea. It's just an idea in our mind that we are not lovable. And so when someone comes with kindness, you don't know how to receive it. And it's tough. You know, you made a life being funny when things are supposed to be sentimental and emotional. You know what I'm saying? Defense mechanism. You deflect feeling anything. So you make jokes commonly. I mean, I've got a family full of people that do that shit, myself included. At one point in time, would make jokes when you try to express love for me. Deflection. I firmly believe that everyone has been born human, is born lovable. And say all that to say, asking versus assuming can prevent a lot of movies being created in your mind. What do you do when energy shifts around you? By all means, I'm not special. I want to start off by saying that. I don't believe that I am to be special, right? Unique, as we all are. And by that's what I mean, like I'm not special. I'm built the way any other human is. There are certain things that are given with us. But it is a gift or a curse perspective. I can feel energy before I go into a place. I can feel energy before I'm around people. I can feel energy from people that are miles away from me, and it's just so interesting because when I do feel that shift, that whole thing of assumptions that we just discussed about, you don't always have the accuracy. You don't always have the accuracy when it comes to what you believe this is, but where there's smoke, there's definitely fire. And when I feel a shift, I often do my best to not overthink, to assess, to think more logically than I am emotionally about the energy in which I'm feeling around people. And it's hard to explain, but you can just feel that shit. Like once you get in tune with the universe, God and His universe, to be clear, once you get in tune with that, it'll just be bugging you. It'll just be bugging you in the back of your neck. It'll be bugging you in your ear. It's there. And when you feel it, you can pretend like ain't shit wrong, ain't shit going on. You can just portray like everything's okay, or you can get to the bottom of things. You can ask, all right, what exactly is this? Or you can remove yourself completely, because obviously if you're in a certain space, like, you know what I'm saying, like if you go into a certain gas station at night and the energy comes in. I've been in a situation like this and multiple times where I've been in a gas station on a certain part of town, and the energy that walks through the door and fidgeting behavior, I gotta get the fuck out. There's something that rings in my ear. It is time to depart. It's not worth it. It's just not worth it. So that shift, man, like you can feel it. You know, when you're around certain coworkers, Now, if you're, obviously 40 like me, you've worked long enough to know that you've worked in different work environments. You have that camaraderie amongst certain people at your job. And then there's this personality that comes across, and everybody energy shift, everybody go back to, their desk. And because that energy, you can feel it, man. You can feel it. There's no getting around it. You feel that shit. And when you do, some people have it in them to just embrace it, to really just embrace that shit. More fati, just sit with it and realize that the people that need love the most, as J.E.T.Sense has once said, the people that need love the most ask for it in the most unloving ways. And there's a pain cloud that tends to follow them above their head. And sometimes they know, sometimes they don't know. But they see things in a negative sense. They speak in negative terms. They don't speak in loving terms when they talk to people. They find a way to be negative about whatever. And it's because, I truly believe it's because, and this is my unconscious assumption, I believe it is because of what they've gone through in life and anticipating that rug being pulled from underneath of them. So it makes them feel safe to anticipate something negative going to happen. That makes that person human. Doesn't necessarily mean you have to tolerate it. Unconditional love does not mean unconditional tolerance, but it does give a perspective, perhaps an understanding of that perspective, that the reason for this person feeling this way is because they've gone through some shit. And I mean shit. They are trying to hold it together. Pay attention to a person's eyes. You can see fear in a person's eyes. You can see love in a person's eyes. And fear and love don't tend to operate at the same time, so it's so interesting. At least to me. I know when I'm around someone, and like I said, their energy shifts. I can feel when, for instance, let's say like that, that woman that tends to come off like a bitter bitch to a lot of people, and then to get around calm energy and see the eyes shift from that fear to feeling safe, to feeling like, okay, I don't have to be as guarded, but I'm still keeping a guard up. You can feel that shift in people, and people see it too. Like you'll see a woman talk crazy to this fucking coworker over here, and then come over here and be soft as Doctor's cotton to this person who they feel safe with. They can feel the love coming from you, and speaking in loving ways, speaking in loving terms can bring about that, where you feel safe enough to do that. Even for us men too. Of course you've seen bosses and supervisors and co-workers, they lose their shit on people. But for whatever reason, he's really, really soft on her. You know what I mean? Because something about her energy makes him feel safe enough to not be as abrasive. And, but yeah, you can just feel it. Now that you're aware of it, that's just the way our brains are operating. You're going to feel that shift. I believe you, as the viewer watching this, if you interpret it enough, you're going to feel those energy shifts around you. The people that you're around, do they drain you, or do they make you feel energized after your encounter with them? That's another thing. I don't like to be around draining ass people. I monitor. Constantly monitoring the energy that I'm around. And the more negative, the more draining that you come off, the less I'm going to want to be around it. Don't get me wrong. As I just explained, I understand where it comes from. Doesn't necessarily mean I want to stay around that energy. And I would hope the same for you if I come off being very negative to you when I become an anchor in your life versus a sail. I don't want to be that drain for you. I would love to be that person that offers that energy, speaking in loving ways, but also still being very, as in my manliness, as you know, my masculine, that you feel safe enough to, you know, to drop your guard as, you know, as a woman, or even with your homeboys too. You know, having them feel like they don't have to be so tough. You know, to have that, to be vulnerable without judgment. That's the type of energy I would love to, you know, I attempt to try to bring each day, and allowing and showing people that they're not alone, showing people that they feel safe, and because of, and I'm really just doing what I saw, or being the change that I want to see. I mean, I've heard people speak, you know, through like YouTube, you know, people that are involved in like psychology and spirituality and mental health stuff, and I love the way I feel when I listen to them. I love the way I feel when I listen to Brene Brown. I love the way I feel when I listen to Carol Dweck. I love the way I feel when I listen to Jay Shetty. I love the way sometimes when Jordan Peterson talks, but he says some shit, it makes you check yourself, and I can appreciate that. Same for Jocko Willink and David Goggins, for sure. Like, sometimes the message isn't pretty, but it's exactly what you can. It's very useful to you. It's just a different delivery. When I hear them speak, I'm like, all right, I want to spread that same message. Whenever I hear Jim Carrey talk about spirituality, man, I'm in tune. I am listening. I am listening, and his ability to make people laugh, even now, with me thinking about Jim Carrey, he provides a smile for me. No matter what I'm going through, Jim Carrey is like, that's, you know, he does it for me. That is one of the most beautiful personalities to ever grace this earth, in my opinion. I'd be grateful if I ever get to meet him, and even, you know, share this with him. But that joy, man, to have that spirituality, to have that that love that you can do through comedy, that you can do through just being present, being peaceful. Again, Don Miguel Ruiz, I mean, a lot of Buddhist teachings. I love the way I feel when I receive those messages and able to pass that on to my fellow brother and fellow sister, you know, in hopes that they're able to interpret the same thing. But yeah, feel that energy. That energy is, there's no getting around it. You can definitely feel the shift in people's energy. But most definitely, I can feel the shift in the room with the person's energy. I can feel the shift. And, you know, just like when I'm in communication with someone. So when I do feel that shift, I try to assess what it means and then go from there.
Yeah, so who did I get in the most trouble with in school? Well, in elementary school, it was a buddy of mine at the time. You know, we were military, growing up at Green Holly Elementary in Pax River, Maryland. We was there for about 3 years, from 92 to 95. There was trouble there. When I got to Virginia, there was me and T-Dot. Love you, girl. Me and T-Dot grew up causing havoc inside Miss Phelps' class, along with Mac, God rest his soul, Richard Ward, God rest his soul, and JC, James Crockett. We used to get into a little bit of trouble, just being funny, just being, you know, comedians and stuff in the class. High school was me, Joe, Rashad, Carlos, Rodney, Rudy, we all we were all in cahoots, if you will. You know what I'm saying? When it came to being funny in like the class and stuff, as far as getting in trouble. But I mean, all in all, I mean, there's a lot of people that
probably go unmentioned, but they know who they are. We had a lot of fun throughout school, being funny through our trauma without even knowing it. But those are the people that I got into trouble the most with when I was in school.
Do you consider yourself to be happy? No, I don't. And I'm not even sure that I want to be, you know? And I'm more so like from society standards of whatever happiness is, right? So when it comes to happiness, I don't believe it's something you go looking for. I believe it's just something you become, right? You just decide that you enjoy doing the things that you want to do, and you don't do it for anybody else. I believe that is where happiness happiness lies. I look at like how a child shows happiness. Before a child gets programmed, as John Miguel Ruiz talks about all the time, they're being free. They're doing what they want to do. They're doing what they love to do, and they're not doing it because somebody thinks they'll be cool if they do this. They're not doing this to get an acceptance from this person over here. They're free. A child is, in most cases, they're doing what is free. Now, us as adults and older, obviously older people, teenagers or whatever, we think we know better because we've been living longer, but some of us have encountered some painful people that have projected their pain onto us in conditional love. So we no longer move in the unconditional sense that we once came from as a child. And we veer away from that shit. We start doing what we think other people want us to do. And happiness, I believe I believe it's different for everyone. I must be married by the time I'm 25. I must have kids by the time I'm 30. I need to have this 6-figure job, this millionaire job by the time I'm 40. All these things is not necessarily what we want. It tends to go down to like social acceptance. And who's to say that we're going to live past today? So what would all that people pleasing mean? I believe in just the secret of life, One of them, Alan Watts talks about it all the time, and the Dalai Lama and Eckhart Tolle, being in the present moment. Being present is what makes life what it is. I believe that's where happiness is. Happiness is in the present. Because if I'm in the past, I'm definitely, I'm holding on to memories that are no longer there, and they're just memories. There is nothing but the present. Everything else is all in thought and memory. The present moment is all that we have. And the present moment, I believe, is where happiness is obtained, is achieved. And it's more of a feeling. A happy emotion is simply that. It's just an emotion. And it will change from time to time. Those emotions will change from time to time. Sometimes you'll be upset about something. Sometimes you'll be happy. It's like a child, 1 minute the child is crying, wants a bottle or whatever it is, and then goes back to being, cuddly, smiling and shit, cooing. And, we love that. We love seeing that shit in like a child. There's nothing more warming, to see a child laugh. Like I'm talking about like a 2-year-old, 1-year-old, like laughing at something. And they're not looking for happiness. They're just being. And so I think about how much time I wasted trying to find happiness and what I perceived to be happy, and what I thought was happiness. And I think about where all of us came from, especially in our families. And when we started out, we weren't looking for happiness. We were just being each day. Obviously being whatever our parents told us to do, or big brother, big sister, we would do whatever they, told us to do. But for the most part, we were just being. When you liked something as a kid, No matter what that show was, you watched it because you wanted to watch it. You didn't watch it because your friend was watching it. You watched it, you played with this toy because you like that toy. You like this song all the time because you like that damn song. But again, somehow along the way, and perfect example of it is in the movie Rocky Balboa. The cat actually from This Is Us, the main white cat, he plays Rocky's son in the movie, and he has this moment where he's upset with his father, and he's like, he doesn't want him to do the fight because he feels like he's going to embarrass him. He's like, don't you care what people think? And that is the trap. That is the trap of the conditional love mind, is where we are more concerned about what other people think than what we actually want, you know? And Rocky just tells them, when you were little, you did these things, you had all these aspirations, but then one day you woke up and somebody told you that you weren't no good, and you started to believe that shit. And so what happens is, and the reason why I bring that up is happiness then becomes based on people pleasing. Happiness becomes based on what we perceive this person's definition of success is. Some people in certain families, they're doing what they believe their parents want them to do. They're doing what their family wants them to do instead of living their life. There is, in so many cases, we see this all the time, especially when it comes to the likes of like the LGBTQ community. And it's very much shout out to them, support to them, with some of the things that they've had to go through in life, where they've had to pretend that they were straight when they feel totally fine being gay. You know what I mean? And because of lack of acceptance, lack of social acceptance, they don't feel like they're able to be, they don't believe they can express love from the same, for the same sex in public for fear of being ridiculed. Conditional love, you know what I mean? Instead of being embraced as love, like anybody else. Like happiness is now defined as, instead of you being with whoever you would like to, like to be with. Now it goes back to religion on a lot of things. And I respect, what people follow for their religion, but not everybody follows religion. And understanding that we're all human, we're all worthy of love. So to treat somebody like with such judgment and criticism because they don't live the way you live, because you believe that you're right and everybody else is wrong, which is a common thing with a lot of religions. And instead of just accepting people for living their life the way they want to, if it doesn't affect you, if they don't project it onto you and force you to do anything that you don't want to do, what is the issue? So happiness, right? Happiness, again, saying that piece to say that happiness is unique to each of us. We don't get to decide what happiness means. I believe it's different for everyone. And happiness, I believe happiness, I don't consider myself to be happy all the time. I don't know if I even want to be anymore. I'm okay with just being. I'm okay with just being present, because nothing belongs to me. For me to say that, I'm happy with you, and then what happens when you leave? Am I not happy anymore? Is my happiness derived upon you? Am I making you responsible for my happiness? What if I'm not best for you anymore, but you make me happy? What am I to do? Am I prevent you from doing what you want to do anyway? Now, happiness for a lot of us is an illusion. And I believe you can just be in the present and show love to those around you for however long you're able to, because everything's temporary. Nothing's permanent in this life. We are all going to die someday. There's no getting around it. I don't care how much you try to protect yourself for fear of failure, fear of caution, trying to, afraid of dying. You're going to. It's going to happen. So we might as well live, right? Might as well live. Why not live in the present? Living in the present presents so much clarity for mind, and we don't get lost in our childhood trauma, which is the past. We don't we don't get caught up in anxiety, which is the future for a lot of things. But in the present, I believe that's where happiness, lives. Happiness is there. Happiness is in the present. When you are present, you just feel free, right? But most of us are either stuck in the past or we're stuck in the future. But to find that middle ground in the present is a thing of beauty. So, do I consider myself to be happy? No. And I'm not sure that I want to be. And I hope you guys understand that based off what I just explained. So, anyway, I've enjoyed this show, as I enjoy all of them. Thank you guys for coming along for the ride. Thank you for your consistent energy of watching to the end. For those that started a little bit and stopped, I appreciate you taking the time to check out the show at all. But be sure to check out more content from here. Anybody that's interested in being interviewed for like the podcast, feel free to DM me on Facebook or TikTok, which both of those are the only social medias I have right now. But I'm Romy Mac, and I'm out. Good night, kids.